Lakers in negotiations. Dwight Howard and Zach LaVine in the trade? Shocking updates. Hey guys, this is Guilherme, and today we're serious. You'll want to stay tuned until the end. The latest news that has touched the hearts of every fan. Dwight Howard returning? Zach LaVine involved in a trade? This is no longer just speculation. The talks are happening. What's going on behind the scenes could change everything for the Lakers this season. Want to know everything that's going on behind the scenes of these negotiations? Stay with me until the end of this video, because there's a lot coming. And let's get to today's news. But first, just make sure you're already subscribed to the channel, because the next videos will be a series of content that will help you stay informed about everything related to the Lakers. Turn on the notification bell and select the all option. After that, we'll send you everything breaking that comes out behind the scenes of the Lakers. Lakers fans, we have a goal of 24 likes to reach on this video. In the last video, we reached the goal in less than an hour. Prove that you are Lakers fans and leave a like so we can reach this goal soon. We will have a busy night tonight. The Lakers take the court for the fourth game of the preseason, and it is impossible not to be anxious. LeBron James and Anthony Davis will probably be in action in the first half, showing that brilliance that only the greats have. But the biggest expectation is for the second half. That is when the youth comes in. Quincy Albari and other young talents have the chance to shine. They are coming off an impressive performance in the last game, especially in the fourth quarter against Milwaukee. Can they repeat the feat? However, before we focus on the game, we cannot ignore the conversations that continue to revolve around the Lakers off the field. Two names are drawing attention: Dwight Howard, the veteran who does not seem to accept the end of his career, and Zach LaVine, who has once again become the target of speculation among fans after a brilliant game in the preseason. Could these two somehow influence the Lakers' future? That's what we need to talk about. Is there room for Dwight to return? And could LaVine, with his impressive skills, be the missing piece? Starting with Dwight Howard, the center who, even away from the spotlight, continues to try to stay relevant in the NBA. He recently revealed that he had a frank conversation with Lakers owner Jeannie Buss about what really happened when he left after winning the 20-20 title. Howard mentioned that the lack of communication was the main reason why he didn't return to the team. The most curious thing? He said that he accepted an offer from the Philadelphia 76ers based on confusing information given by his agent, who was later arrested for fraud. Howard admitted that he was hurt, that he didn't have a clear chance to return to the Lakers. It's heartbreaking to imagine the frustration of a player who, at 39 years old, sees the doors closed for him. What if Dwight had returned at that moment? What would the Lakers' trajectory be like with him on the roster in 2021? We know he'll be back in 2022, but he was a shadow of the player he helped win the championship. Injuries, time off the court, all of that took its toll. Now, 3 years later, the reality is different. Is there still hope of seeing Dwight on the court in the purple and gold? Some fans believe he could be a useful asset, but realistically, age and circumstances are not on his side. Looking at the Lakers' current situation, the team is on the right track. They have a roster with 15 guaranteed players and little wiggle room in the budget. Even if there was a desire to bring Dwight back, financial constraints make that possibility unlikely. Not to mention that the last time we saw Howard in full form was almost 4 years ago. Does it still make sense to bet on a return? Now, shifting focus, Zach LaVine is another name that has been causing buzz among fans. After an eye-popping performance in the preseason, with 28 points and a near-perfect performance, many fans have started to ask, what if? What if the Lakers traded for him? The Chicago Bulls appear open to trading him, and LaVine, despite his injuries, still has all-star potential. But the question is it worth the risk? LaVine had an underwhelming season last year, averaging just 19.5 points per game, his worst mark in more than 5 years. He has been plagued by injuries, including a torn ACL, that have hampered his ability to play at the highest level. Now, at 29, he is at a crossroads. Can he reclaim his star status, or have these injuries already caused irreparable damage? For the Lakers, a trade for LaVine would be a tough one. They would have to give up several key players, including D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and perhaps even Jared Vanderbilt. And then there's the weight of LaVine's contract, which isn't cheap. Is it worth sacrificing so much depth on the roster for a star with a history of injuries? The answer is not so simple. With the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement, which further limits team spending, forming super trios of stars has become a risk. A trio of LeBron, Anthony Davis, and LaVine would undoubtedly be an offensive powerhouse. But what about defense? And what about roster depth, something the Lakers would have to sacrifice to make this trade happen? In such a competitive league, every detail counts, and not having a solid second unit could cost them dearly when the time comes. Some fans may wonder, is LaVine the answer the Lakers need? But the real question may be different. Can the Lakers afford to risk everything on a player with so much uncertainty surrounding him? The potential is there, but is the price to pay too high? Meanwhile, Dwight Howard, in search of redemption, sees his dream of returning to the NBA increasingly distant. And what about Zach LaVine, who after a brilliant performance has rekindled fans' hopes? Both at different points in their careers bring doubts and emotions to Lakers fans. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about Dwight Howard? Does he deserve another chance with the Lakers, or is it time to move on? And LaVine, would you risk such a heavy trade for a player who may be brilliant but carries so many doubts? Leave your opinions in the comments, and if you haven't already, take the opportunity to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. Don't miss the next content. Let's continue this conversation. And regarding this Dwight Howard issue, are we clinging to something that has already happened? The Dwight of 2020, who was crucial on defense, bringing energy in critical moments, seems increasingly distant. At almost 39 years old, it's hard to imagine that he could have the same impact. We're not talking about a LeBron James who, even at his advanced age, defies the laws of nature and continues to play at a high level. Dwight is different. The injuries, the physical wear and tear, all of this seems to have taken its toll. Of course, no one can erase the history that Howard built with the Lakers. He was an essential part of that victorious 2020 campaign, and fans will never forget that. But could pride and nostalgia be blinding our judgment? The reality is harsh. If he were to return today, he would be an almost unrecognizable player compared to his version of 3 years ago. The league has evolved, and teams are increasingly faster and more dynamic. Can Howard, even with all his experience, keep up with this pace? And here's where the pain comes in. Seeing a once dominant legend like Dwight now struggling to stay relevant is a blow to any fan. The memories of the blocks, the powerful dunks, they all seem so distant. But is there any chance, even the slightest, that he could surprise again? Any spark that could still ignite, or is it time to accept that his time has passed and look to the future? On the other hand, we have Zach LaVine, who is in a completely different phase. He still has a lot to prove. At 29, he should be in the prime of his career, but injuries have been a stumbling block. When LaVine is healthy, he is one of the most explosive players in the league. His ability to score from all areas of the court is rare. And after such an impressive preseason performance, it's impossible not to wonder, what if? What if he's back to his best? What if this 28-point game is a sign that he can still be the player the Bulls have been waiting for? That doubt, that uncertainty, is what makes the idea of a potential trade so appealing and yet so risky. LaVine can elevate any team when he's in shape, but the question is it worth the risk? For the Lakers, the math isn't simple. To get LaVine, they would have to sacrifice a significant portion of their current roster. Players like D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and others would be included in the deal. And what would the Lakers end up with? A trio of stars with LeBron, AD, and LaVine, but at the cost of a team with little depth. Would that work? Recent history shows us that having 3 stars does not guarantee success. There are many examples of super teams that failed. And with the new CBA, the penalties for teams that go over the salary cap are increasingly severe. We're no longer in the era where you can just pile on stars and hope everything works out. You need balance, you need depth. And would sacrificing that for LaVine be a smart move? Now think with me. If the LaVine trade were to happen, how would it impact the team's chemistry? What would happen to the remaining players? Would they be able to adapt to this new dynamic? We know that LeBron and AD already have a strong connection, but how would LaVine fit into that? Would he accept a secondary or even tertiary role in the offense, or could the ego, inevitable in players at this level, create problems? These are questions that the Lakers need to ask themselves before making any decisions, and they are questions that we, as fans, should be asking ourselves as well. The idea of bringing in a star like LaVine is exciting, no doubt, but what about the cost? Is it worth risking so much for a player who, while brilliant, has a worrying injury history? Meanwhile, fans remain divided. There are those who dream of Dwight's return, even though reason dictates that this possibility is unlikely. And there are those who see LaVine as an opportunity to take a leap to the top. But in such an uncertain scenario, it is difficult to say which path the Lakers should take. Are we facing a moment of transformation for the franchise? A moment in which difficult decisions will have to be made? On one side, nostalgia for Dwight, on the other, hope for LaVine. And in the midst of all this, the relentless reality that every move will have consequences. And now, Lakers Nation, I want to hear from you. Would you risk everything for LaVine? Or do you believe that the current roster has what it takes to fight for a title? And as for Dwight, is there still room for him on this team? Or is it time to finally turn the page? Don't forget to comment. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving the next content. Access our playlist now that will appear on the screen or in the pinned comment. With all the latest news and breaking news about the Lakers, and stay up to date with the behind-the-scenes, highlights, last-minute controversies, transfers, everything about the Los Angeles Lakers team. Until the next video.